MinymikTV YouTube.
Pinokyo masalı.
Once upon a time, in a small town, there was an old toy maker named Gepetto. He made a living by selling the wooden toys he made. The old toy maker had no children. What wouldn't he give to have a child? One day, Geppetto went to the forest to look for logs to make toys. He saw a log that was exactly what he wanted and said, "It is a log that is exactly what I was looking for. I will go and make a beautiful puppet with it." And as soon as he took the log, he went to the shop. When he arrived at the shop, Master Geppetto started carving the log. Ah, ah sounds were heard every time the log was carved. Master Geppetto looked around and said, "Where is this sound coming from?" But when he couldn't see anyone around him, he said, "I guess it just seemed that way to me," and continued his work. He finished the puppet's head first, then its body, arms and feet. Then he sat the puppet on the chair. As he started to clean up, a voice saying, "Hello," was heard. He looked around. There was no one but puppets. He continued his work, saying, "I guess it felt like that to me again." After some time, the puppet sitting on the chair stood up and started dancing. Geppetto is astonished to see the master puppet dancing. "Oh, this puppet is alive! Oh my God, he is exactly the child I wanted." The puppet was not made of flesh and blood, but it was laughing, playing and dancing. Geppetto, he took the puppet in his arms. "You're like a real kid," he said. "Let your name be Pinocchio." From that day on, Geppetto began to spend every day with Pinocchio. After a while, Geppetto thought that Pinocchio should go to school. But Pinocchio had neither a notebook nor a pen. Geppetto gave the last money he had left in his pocket to Pinocchio and said to Pinocchio, "Son, buy yourself a notebook and a pen with this money and go to school well." Pinocchio took the money given by Geppetto and started walking happily. As he was looking around, a crowd suddenly caught his attention. He went into the middle of the crowd and tried to understand what was happening. A huge tent stood in front of the crowd. What's coming now is the circus tent. The clown in front of the tent was shouting to gather customers. When Pinocchio wanted to enter the tent, the clown told him that he could not enter without money. Since Pinocchio was very curious about what was going on inside, he handed the clown the money that Geppetto gave him to go to school and went inside. When he saw a lot of puppets playing in the middle of the stage, he said, "These are wooden puppets like me." He came among them. However, when the owner of the circus, who was making the puppets move with strings above the stage, saw that Pinocchio had no strings and could move as he wished, "This is a live puppet. It will be very useful to me. It will save me a lot of money." When the game was over, he caught Pinocchio and locked him in a cage. Pinocchio started to cry, thinking that if Geppetto had not listened to the master and gone to school, this would not have happened to him. Seeing that Pinocchio was regretful, the fairy godmother came to Pinocchio, and he told him to keep quiet because you didn't listen to your father, but since I saw that you regretted it, I will save you from here. He told Pinocchio to go out by giving him back the money he gave to the circus and telling him to go to school. When Pinocchio took the money given by the fairy godmother and went to school happily, the cunning fox and cat saw Pinocchio's cheerful state. "Oh no, where are you going?" they asked cheerfully. When Pinocchio takes a notebook and pencil and says he will go to school, the cunning fox and the cat play a game and ask Pinocchio to go to school to get the money from Pinocchio. What will you do? Don't you want to be rich? Give us that money. Let's plant it in the magic field. Have a magic tree too. They said you can collect the money given by that tree and do whatever you want. Pinocchio believed what was said and gave the money to the cunning fox and the cat. When the cunning fox and the cat took the money, they immediately disappeared. He gave Pinocchio the gift of kindness when he was left alone. He asked Pinocchio, "Did you buy a notebook and a pen?" However, he knew that the money was lost to a cunning fox and a cat. He warned, "Don't lie, I will punish you." But Pinocchio started to lie. He said, "I bought a notebook and a pen and left it to school." Then he continued to tell lies again. His nose grew longer every time he lied. It has now grown so tall that Pinocchio cannot turn his head left and right. Finally realizing his mistake, he told the fairy what happened correctly. The fairy restored Pinocchio because he told the truth. While Pinocchio was going to school singing with the money he earned, he suddenly heard someone laughing loudly. This was the circus owner who put him in a cage at the circus. He said, "Last time you escaped from me, this time you won't be able to escape," and threw Pinocchio into the sea as he grabbed his arm. Because Pinocchio was made of wood, he did not sink into water. He stayed on the water. Pinocchio liked it very much when it stood on water like this. While he was swimming towards the shore by moving his arms and legs, he suddenly found himself in a dark place. A fish swallowed Pinocchio and swallowed him. Geppetto, who was very curious about Pinocchio, hit the road to look for Pinocchio. Finally, he learned from the fisherman that Pinocchio's owner threw him into the water and went out to sea to look for Pinocchio. After going for a while, a strong wind arose and capsized the boat, and Geppetto found himself among the waves. Since Geppetto did not know how to swim, the fish that swallowed Pinocchio as he went down to the depths of the sea also swallowed Geppetto. Geppetto heard the voice of a child crying in the darkness. The crying boy was Pinocchio. "Geppetto, Pinocchio, I was wondering about you. I'm so glad you're alive," he said. They hugged each other and cried. When the fairy godmother heard them and saw that Pinocchio was very sorry for what he had done, she rescued them and took them ashore. From that day on, Pinocchio became a very good child. He went to school and helped his father with all his work after coming home from school. The brave fairy now decided to reward Pinocchio and cast a spell to turn him into a normal boy of flesh and blood. At night, when Pinocchio was about to go to bed, he realized that he was now a normal child and ran to Geppetto with joy. Seeing Pinocchio in that state, Geppetto cried tears of joy and hugged each other, saying, "I have a real son now." Father and son lived happily ever after.